Hey guys, what is up? Aoki here. Today we are doing a coaching session on a bronze Leona by the player by the name of Captain Morgan 7188. This is going to be a paid coaching session. So let's go ahead and get started. While we're setting up for the invade or invading ourselves, the beginning stages of the games, I'm going to go through what I looked at from your rune pages. You are currently running Leona with Inspiration in this game. I always recommend to Leona, especially lower elo Leonas, where bronze, where team fights and skirmishes are really prevalent, to go Precision as your secondary page. So switch over to that Triumph and Legend Tenacity, and also for your stat shards, I really recommend changing out the first one, which you have the scaling 1 to 10% CDR stat shard. I would throw in the Adaptive Force into that one, because 1% CDR in your early game just means absolutely nothing. Whereas the adaptive force, you're going to be feeling it in your damage. Okay, so right away, here's our first mistake. We don't have either of our entrances warded. So you did show up to the game relatively early. Good for you. Go out and actually make use of that. Go over here, walk here, stand here, do something. Make sure that you're not getting invaded, because you got to be thinking about the absolute worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is that the entire team grouped as 5 and are right here, or the entire team grouped as 5 and are right here, and you guys are run the risk of getting blindsided. You are keeping vision over here, but that means if you're over here, there's nothing warding over here. So what I like to do is I like to ward here and then stand over here, so you can see this entire entrance, and you have this vision, this entrance warded. It's also a really good ward because a lot of people like to do cheese stuff. Like if they know you're leashing red, they'll stand here and then try to get the jump on you. And if you've warded that, and then they're now standing on the ward, what you can do is you can give the red buff to your jungler, go leash, and then bring 3 people down here. They think they've got the jump on you, when actually you can just dogpile them. So always be proactive with your defensive warding in the early stages of the game. All right, let's see what we got. We are against a Kog'Maw Thresh with Exhaust. This is pivotal. Looking at the summoner spell of your enemy support is always really important when determining how you're going to be playing the lane. Okay, so what I like to do, I know you've played enough Leonas that you know that your level 1 is really bad. So instead of standing over here and basically letting your enemy know that you can't do anything since you would have started Q, walk over here into this bush. So what that does is they don't know if you're over here or over here, and it gives you so much more access to walk towards Cog. It just makes them nervous and makes them play the lane differently, and you can auto Q auto a ward, get a little bit of free gold and experience if they drop the ward over here. So generally, level 1, since you shouldn't be catching anyone and you're just going to get kited around, I like to step in the bush. Okay, so always in skirmishes like this, dump the ignite. Because what that does is it puts like a ticking time bomb on them. It makes them either overcommit to the fight or immediately back up. So if you're going to be having level 1 skirmishes like this, which I don't recommend against Thresh, because his E passive gives him empowered autos, and you usually lose level 1 fights as Leona, always dump the early ignite. The second you see that they're committing and they're saying, I want to fight and I'll end this, dump the ignite. Doesn't matter on who. Just dump it on someone. Even dump it on him right here. Even dump it on him right here, because what that does, puts him in a really bad position. Alright, so yeah, definitely never have a level 1 fight where you've just held on to your ignite. The faster, think about it this way, the earlier you use that in a fight, the better. Because what it does is it applies grievous wounds. So any healing that he gets, and he is getting a bit because he's got lifesteal from Doran's Blade and he's got his summoner heal. The faster and the earlier you dump that ignite, the better for all ends. Okay, so this should be pretty easy. Good stuff. Good job giving the kill to him too. So in all of my coaching sessions, I do try to tailor the concepts of the game. If this was a higher elo, I would be commenting on the way that you're managing the wave right now. But since we've got so many other things to talk about, since this is a bronze game, we're going to be focusing on fundamentals. Alright, so we leveled up our E next. So we're ready to fight. Remember, they're down on summoners. Whoa, what are you backing up for? You killed Thresh. You know that they're staggered. So what you need to do is you need to have presence in the lane. Have presence. Walk up to him. Say, hey, you're not farming. This is our lane. Even zone him from experience. The fact that you're level 2 and he's level 1 and you saw him flash earlier means that he's got nothing on you. Walk up to him. And I think that you thought that you had a relic shield proc there for the cannon. Just be aware when managing your procs. But yeah, I need to be seeing way more presence on you. Out of you. You're level 3, you've got Ignite. He's an immobile squishy with no support and no flash. Walk up. Send that guy back to the turret. It's okay. Imagine the lane is like cut into thirds. Right here, from here to here is good for you. Anywhere past this, engaging past this point is usually bad. So imagine like this to here is the danger zone third. Engaging onto a Cogmaul there is a bad idea because Thresh can hook you, drag you into the turret, flay you into the turret. But if they're out here, you're good to fight. You're good to go. And you should be because you've got a really important aggressive summoner on top of him. Exhaust is really good for late game. Ignite is amazing for early game. If you're going to be taking Ignite, which I do recommend you to do, Ignite's great, you need to be getting your value out of it. You need to be using it in an early game. And don't be afraid to just dump it. Like I said, you've had 2 fights now where you just haven't used it. Don't be afraid to use it. It's got a short cooldown. It's 171 seconds compared to Thresh's 210. So there's a lot of reasons that Ignite is just really, really good in early game. So he used his flay here. It's time to go in because that's his only tool for keeping you off him. So if you see him use your flay like that, try to get Cogmaul, but if not, just go on Thresh. You've got your Aftershock up, you're ready to fight. I'm seeing a lot of hesitation out of you, and I don't want to. I want you to learning Leona, here's how you should learn it. You should be overly aggressive. You don't want to go in the safe direction. If you're going to do too much of something, I want you to be overly aggressive. Because if you play that way, if you're too aggressive and you make a couple plays you shouldn't have and you die, that's how you learn. That's how you learn. You just throw yourself into it. Don't play safe. Don't hesitate and be like, overthink it and be like, oh, should I be going in or not? If you're going to go too far in one direction, I want to see you go overly aggressive. So yeah, be thinking of the tools that they have to get you off her, because that's what counters Leona, right? It's called counter engage. She's a purely just engage champion. The tools that they have to get you off them, once they use those tools or misuse them like Thresh did, that's when it's time to go in. So for instance, if you're against a Janna, once she uses her Q, it's time to go in. If she uses it for harass, it's time to go in. If Thresh uses his E, his flay for harass, it's time to go in. Morgana uses her spell shield, time to go in. So I want to see some aggressive play. I never want to see you behind your ADC as Leona in a lane like this. You need to be at least even with him, matching his aggression, if not in front of him. This right here, this type of positioning, this is what's good. Okay. Thresh is way over there. Go in. Don't back up there. If Thresh is over here warding, that's when it's time to push up. And if he gets within your Zenith Blade range, that's when it's time to press E. Okay, again, pressure, presence. They're just going on Jhin for free here. You just need to go in here. Yeah, try to stun up your boy Cogmaul. And again, this would have been another really great time to drop Ignite because it creates that sense of pressure, that sense of urgency. Puts grievous wounds on him, all that good stuff. I need to see a lot more aggressive play out of you. Okay, what you can do for cannons that get down to this health, you can actually come down here and shoot your E this way, and you can use it as an execute. And you would have actually gotten the relic shield proc. ADC would have gotten the gold, would have gotten the health. So it's kind of like an advanced tip because a lot of people don't think of using Zenith Blade as anything other than like a champion engage. But you can use it to safely farm under turret. But make sure you're not shooting it in an angle where it's going to latch onto the champion, because your E would definitely kill the cannons. If you would reposition down here, shoot it this way, boom, easy relic. Get the cannon. Got to think about how much gold you're missing out of. Dump the ignite. Dump the ignite. You got to dump the ignite, man. You're being way too conservative with your ignite. Ignite, yeah, there's too much. You're placing too much importance on it. It's a super expendable spell. It comes back. Think if you had used it in the first fight, it would have already been up by now. It's only a 3-minute cooldown, so that's the biggest mistake I'm seeing is lack of presence, and you're holding on to that ignite like it actually means something. Just dump it. Nice thing about ignite is that you can basically, the earlier you use it, the better. Whereas with exhaust, you need to be waiting for you need to use it strategically, right? Exhaust is like 10 times harder to use as a summoner spell. Ignite, you just dump that shit. So yeah. See what we're building. We got upgrade, boots, goodbye. And since we do have the biscuits, that should give you another reason to be playing aggressively. Okay, so a little bit of a nitpick here, but when you do control wards, you want to dump them as far onto your side of the bush as possible, because it's easier for them to clear this than to clear this if it's over here than it is if it's in the this side of the bush. Because there's a big difference between Kog'Maw standing here to clear it and Kog'Maw standing here to clear it, right? A little bit of a nitpick, but just keep it in mind. Okay, the deeper you can get this ward over here, the better. If you notice, they're under their turret, so they're tied up, right? They're busy. You had the time to come over here. Getting a ward over here is much more valuable than getting a ward here. Because if you think about how Elise wants to gank the lane, she's going to come over here and use the blast cone, and you're not going to have much of a warning. Whereas if you see her before she even uses the blast cone, you're going to have like 4 to 5 seconds to react to it and just back up in the lane. So when you've got them pushed under turret like this and you know that you can't get collapsed on because they'd be walking through an entire wave, get it out as deep as possible. Here's a good ward, over here's a good ward. Shoot, even in the river is a good ward. But this is, I mean, warding is good, but the more value you can get out of the ward, the better. And the deeper you put it, the more value you get out. I also probably would have checked up on Infernal just to make sure that Elise isn't cheesing it. Because you've got the luxury to do that, right? Because they're under their turret. Alright, even right there, I would have gone for Kog'Maw. Thresh does have his flay, but by the time he flays you out, you can probably stun up Thresh. Alright, there's his flay, Yeah. Okay, so here's the problem with standing behind your ADC like this. You're not ready to react when he needs you. You need to be matching your aggression. That's a very, very important concept in the bot lane. You need to match the aggression of your ADC. I never want to see you standing this far behind your ADC again. Always stand at least equal with them, if not ahead. Because what you're doing is you're letting them win a matchup that you should be winning. As a rule of thumb, if they have exhaust and you have ignite, you should be winning that. You should be winning the lane. Okay, so here your ADC got caught, but you're in a position that you can counteract, right? Don't counteract the Thresh that he's already done his job. You need to be going on the Kog'Maw here because he has yet to deliver the damage that is quite probably going to kill this Jhin. So let's watch this again. You aren't too far behind. You're ready to react. This ADC gets caught, as ADCs do. You're even with him, though. You're even with him. You're ready to react. So he goes in on him. You need to go in on this Kog'Maw. Your target prioritization here is a little off. There's no reason to stun this Thresh up because, one, you're not going to kill him. He's nearly full health, so obviously you can't kill him, right? Unless you can kill this Thresh, no reason to dump anything on him. He's already won. He's already done his job. He's already hooked. You need to be going on this Kog'Maw. Okay, again, so remember that you can use your Zenith Blade to tap this, because it would kill this one too. I know you're zoned off, and you don't want to be walking up here and last hitting these for fear of getting hooked. But remember that you can use your Zenith Blade kind of as a long-range last hit machine. Okay, so I know we've really harped on this, but it is now 8:42, and that is the first time that you've used Ignite. Ha! Nice survival, man. Good survival. Oh, canceling your back like that is really dangerous. Because if Elise happened to be on your side of the jungle, you're just getting one tapped. So I don't know if that was a misclick or not, but try not to cancel your back like that. Alright, let's see what we got. The nice thing about Leona right now is that this coaching session is being played on patch 9.5. At the moment, Leona's build is incredibly static. You build Knight's Vow or Zeke's every single game. The only thing that's really variable about Leona's builds is her runes and her which boots you're choosing. Okay, so you need to get into the habit of using your W correctly. You using your W instinctively. So right here, you can see Thresh's hook has a windup, right? Right around now, you should realize you're getting hit. Right now, press W, and it would reduce so much of this damage. Your W has been tremendously buffed at some point last season to the point where, like, that's the reason she's a tank now. It's the reason so much importance in her build is placed on getting CDR, because the more CDR you have, the more uptime on your W you can get. To the point where once you get around 30% CDR and you're in a team fight and you're getting W's off, you can have it up 100% of the time. No other champion gets that many stats for free. But if you're not pressing the button, all of those free stats go down the toilet. And so if you had your W running this whole time, they'd be barely denting you. Using it like this is completely worthless. Alright, and then that was just a panic ult. I'm not going to harp on that too much. It's just the last ditch. You know you're going to die, so you're dropping it. Very, very important to get your W off. I mean, because it's what you dump all your points into, right? Okay, I need to see presence. I need to see presence. It's obvious Thresh is going on Jhin, right? If you can, get in front of him, put your W on. Take the hook if you can. Okay. This is the direct result. I'm sure that in this game you were very frustrated that Jhin was getting caught so much, and he is. He's not playing well either. But him getting caught so much is the direct result of you not having any presence and standing behind him the entire game. I need to see some presence out of you. Okay, right here, right here. What are you doing, bro? Look, Kog'Maw is even in front this time. This is perfect. This is perfect for you. Your ulti's up. You can just... Okay, so let's talk about efficiency when comboing. Obviously, you should be going in on him right here. The combo you want to be using 90% of the time is EQR. So you Zenith Blade to him, you Q him and stun him, make sure he can't move, and then you dump the ultimate on top of that. What you're doing right here is something called raw ulting. It's when he's not stunned up already, nothing is keeping him in place, so the odds of you landing the actual stunning part of your ultimate are very low. You hit the ult, you slowed him, but you didn't stun him. Whereas if you had just initially E'd to him, Zenith Blade to him, Q'd him, and landed the ult, there's nothing stopping you from missing that ult. So think about that. Your proper combo, the combo you want to be using in 90% of the 90% of your situations is EQR. You want to mash that into your brain. You don't want to get into a situation where you're throwing out raw ults, because both of your ults this game so far has been something called a raw ult, and it's a really, really bad habit to get into. Okay, he's gone. We've got 4 people in bot, 3 people in bot. What are we going to do with it? Are we doing dragon? Clearing out vision. Good, good. Alright, we are doing dragon. Now remember, they saw you all congregating, because the vision persists a little bit after you clear the ward. So if you clear the ward and instantly walk somewhere, they know which direction you're going. So they can safely assume you're on the dragon. See? So you want to be thinking about that. When you clear vision, either walk the other way, stand still for just a second or two. Let that vision fade out before you give it away, because the team saw you going that way. Alright, again, you gotta have that muscle memory to, as soon as you know you're in danger, just dump the W. Dump the W. Great turn though, great turn. Yeah, you wanna use your relic shields. There you go. Now at this point you need to just stay in lane. I wouldn't be backing here. You've got 4 people on this side of the map. You've got your ultimate ready. You're ready to make some stuns, make some plays, get something done. I wouldn't have backed here. I would have probably stayed in lane and either threatened to dive or just forced 4 people onto this turret. Alright, what we got? Looks like we're building Knight's Vow. Like I said, Leona's build is incredibly static. It's Knight's Vow into Zeke's every game. Okay, so once again, you're raw alting, and it worked this time because Thresh was an idiot and didn't move. I don't want you to build that habit of where you're raw alting. You want to be using your E, Q, and then dump the alt on top of the person that you stunned. Because this might work. You stunned them up there, but that's not the combo you want to be using. And once again, you're standing super far behind your ADC. You want to have presence. You want to be that threatening force that says, hey, you might want to think twice before roping up my guy. I think this is just a matter of greed. You got to understand that you lose a lot of presence in your lane. You lose a lot of like the luxuries that you have in lane when you lose your turret. So greeding for vision like this will get you killed almost every time. Not to mention you're using your W too late again. I think you're thinking of your W purely as like a damage thing. You need to think of your W as like your safety net. It's the thing you pop that reduces a lot of the damage when you get caught. Because you will eventually get caught. Everyone gets caught. I get caught. That's what your W's for. It's kind of like Ignite. The earlier you use it, the better. Oh wow, he's gonna live with like 2 HP. Alright, I do like this. I do like that you're willing to leave the lane when you understand that like your lane is over. You guys lost lane, you lost turret. Wow, your ADC has 46 CS. That's really bad. I like the fact that you're roaming. I also like the fact that you bought Boots of Mobies. You should think about Boots of Mobility as like your default. This is really great. What you're doing here, that's really bad. The roam is great. The fact that you're raw alting even when you're within walking distance, you have got to break this habit. I'm telling you, once you break this habit, your Leona gameplay is going to skyrocket. The amount of stuns that you land. Look, you didn't even land it. This is the problem with raw alting. Even when it's this close, I don't think you landed your ult. Whereas if you would stun them first, it removes all flaw, all possibility of messing up. EQR. EQR. Or right there, just walk up and Q them first. Never open with your ult unless you have to. Don't raw ult. Because think about it, there's an aspect of randomness and prediction and luck when it comes to raw alting. What you're saying when you raw alt is that I know which way you're going to dodge. And guess what? Sometimes you're not going to be able to guess which way they dodge. Or maybe they're just going to stand still. Or maybe you think they're going to stand still and they dodge. Whereas if you just EQ, they can't move. They can't get out of your stun. I like the flash engage on that Thresh, but let's watch it again because I think you flash E instead of just flash Qing him. Yeah, you did. So right there, if you're going to flash on him, just Q. I think you're really struggling with the prioritizing which of your abilities to use first. In this situation, you probably could have just EQ'd him, but if you're going to commit to the flash stun, I respect that. You get catching him by surprise. If you flash stun him, don't E, because that's just a root compared to a stun. If you're going to flash on him, just dump the Q. So when you can, you want to stun with your Q first. If you're not in melee range, you want to EQ, then alt. Good stuff though. I like the fact that you're willing to get out there and have presence on the map. I really like that roam top because it's a very, very important part of supporting, is understanding that you've done all you can for them in the bot lane. Your time in bot lane is over, and it's time to get out and see the world. Just let Jin solo farm this. Alright, so I know you probably didn't see this coming, but if Shaco has the Rift Herald and you guys see 3 people top, that is a really good time to Rift Herald and get a turret. I probably wouldn't have backed, because what you want to do is you want to protect this. Because if you can keep Ziggs from killing it here, it'll help you get second turret as well. It looks like they're getting collapsed on as well. Alright, this was a good idea for you to not come in here. That would have been suiciding. You cut your tide, you cut your losses. You said Malzahar's dead. You took a different route. Good job. Alright, right there. So you're missing a lot of opportunities to just EQ onto people. I think you're afraid of I think you're afraid of using your E to engage with your E. But that's basically all that Leona is. She's great engaged because of her E, and it's that gap closer. Multiple times you've been in range to just E onto someone, and that's your job. You need to understand that that's what Leona is designed to do. Okay, getting your relic shields, Okay. So yeah, the fact of the matter is, all these fights are happening because Thresh is willing to be the primary engage, and you're just not willing to do that. And I don't know if it's a fear thing, fear of missing, fear of messing up, but I don't think I've seen you throw many offensive E's at all. Whereas Thresh is throwing hooks like a madman. He's taking his chances. If it hits, cool. If it not, oh well, it's up again in 12 seconds. You just need to shoot your shot, man. There's once again a raw alt. This one wasn't terrible because you were chasing and it did land the slow, and it was the only option that you had. Raw alting does have a place in the game, but it's only for when it's your only option. Okay, and then the fact that you're coming back here instead of chasing towards their carries that are slowed, stunned by Renekton is really, really bad. It's like you're afraid to be an engagement champion. This was not your place. To be back here and just be in the way and doing nothing. Over here, in the fight, in the mix, you gotta get in there, man. You gotta get in there, or else there's no reason to play Leona. There's a lot of champions that will really benefit from just sticking next to your ADC. Leona is not one of them. So if you want to play Leona, which I wholeheartedly recommend you do, you got to learn to be willing to be the primary engage. Get out there and go do stuff. That's why I keep complimenting the fact that you're roaming, because she's a champion that makes things happen. She forces things to happen. She doesn't ask for permission. She goes out there and she makes things happen on the enemy team. And I just haven't seen a whole lot of you. A whole lot of that. I've seen you react to things happening to you. Alright, let's see what you got. Let's see what you got. Ian. Would have been a pretty good thing to go in on. Yeah, you're playing way too reactively. That's exactly what it is. Up, there's another raw ult. It hit absolutely nothing. Break that habit, man. I'm telling you. Your gameplay, your Leona gameplay is going to skyrocket once you get out of the habit of wasting your ult like that. And I don't want you to take this as like me saying you can't aim. It's not that. Listen, when I raw ult, it doesn't work either. And I do it very infrequently because I understand that that's not how her kit is designed to be played. Her ult is like a finisher move. Think of it like that. It's like Mortal Kombat. You know how all those characters have like finishing moves? Okay. It would have been close. You might have been able to E her. E her. There you go, girl. See? Good stuff. I think you should have done that to begin with. Alright, E him. There you go, Q. Get out there and make stuff happen, girl. Alright, so now we're basically just bleeding objectives. It's to the point where they've got a pretty hearty 6K gold lead, and they're just making catches that result in 1 or 2 objectives every time. This is the stage of the game. This is a little more difficult to coach because you guys are forced to be playing defensively. I would say you've already gotten outscaled. Kog'Maw definitely scales better than Jhin, and Thresh's kit is much more versatile than Leona's, which is why you've got to make use of the fact that you're really good in lane. So what I want you to do, Captain Morgan, is to go into your next game and play laning phase more aggressively than you have ever done. More aggressively than you have ever done. Go in every single time their ADC is in range. And what's going to happen is some of those engagements are going to work and some of them are not. But that's how you learn. It's like what I talked about earlier. You got to throw yourself at the wall. If you never put your hand on a hot oven, you'll never learn that the oven burns you. And you'll never understand why you shouldn't do that. But are you just going to go your entire life without using an oven? Because the oven has a lot of uses. This is a weird allegory, but I think it works. But yeah, we're basically just at the point where I think someone's just going to get caught and you guys are going to lose that way. You should definitely be grouped with your team at this point. But yeah, man, play your next game. Go into your next League of Legends game. I'm serious. Go into your next League of Legends games and play laning phase harder and more aggressive than you have ever done. Don't be afraid to miss your E. Don't be afraid to fight. Start fighting at level 2. And it may work. And when it works, you can be like, oh, okay, so that's a situation when I win. And when it doesn't work, be like, okay, that's a situation when I probably should wait for a better opening. But you got to throw yourself in there, and you got to learn what works and why and what doesn't work. If you just play safe like this, you'll never excel. You'll never get better. Because you're playing an aggressive champion passively. And I know you, Captain Morgan. I know that you're capable of getting much better. Yeah. So they got Baron. Looks like they're going to get 2 kills. You guys are just going to have to try to wave clear under tower. Alright, they all got caught. This is the game. So, yeah, man. Definitely don't... My closing comments are you got to play way, way, way more aggressively. I literally want you to just play stupidly, recklessly, aggressively in your next game. See what happens, and then let me know, man. Guys, I hope that anyone else that has been watching this has learned something. Let us know what you guys think about the coaching session down in the comments. Captain Morgan, you know where to find me if you have any questions at all. I am totally open. Twitter DMs, Discord, Twitch, MySpace, wherever, man. But take it easy. I really hope this helped. Bye.